Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I have 3 keto-friendly low carb dinners to share with you. I have recently had all these for dinner and they were absolutely amazing. All the original recipes will be in the description box. Sometimes the recipes I share are not necessarily keto or low carb friendly, but I do make modifications to them to make them work for me. This first dinner is steak and Parmesan cauliflower bites. In my bowl, I'm adding in 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to go ahead and melt that in the microwave. While that is melting, I am breaking down a head of cauliflower. You want about 3 cups of cauliflower florets. I never know how to cut up a head of cauliflower, you guys. I am sure there's probably something much easier and faster than the way I do it. They probably come out with actual cauliflower florets. Mine are always in pieces. It's honestly like I need to look up a video or something. If you are new here, welcome. I hope you stick around and check out more of my videos, and please subscribe if you have not done so and hit that notification bell and you'll be notified when I upload videos. Now I'm putting the florets in the bowl with the melted butter, and I'm going to toss that until all the pieces are coated. Now I have a gallon-size Ziploc bag. I'm combining a half of a cup of grated Parmesan. I just use the kind in the green can, 1 teaspoon of paprika, salt, and pepper. You want to add the florets to the bag and then toss them until they are nice and coated. I'm placing the cauliflower in a single layer on a baking sheet. Now I'm using a Silpat. If you're not using anything on your baking sheet, then you want to go ahead and make sure you spray that with some cooking spray. These are going to go into a 425-degree oven for 20 minutes. While the cauliflower is cooking, I'm going to start cooking the steaks. First thing I always do is pat the steaks dry, and now I'm putting on a thin layer of avocado oil on them. You can use olive oil too, of course. And then I am going to generously season them with salt and pepper, and I always make sure I do it on all sides. Oh, also, if you guys are on Facebook, head over there and join my Facebook group, Keto Journey to Healthy. It's just a small, happy community. It's a very safe place to be, no keto police or anything like that. So let your skillet get pretty hot so you get a good sear on that steak. I'm adding in also about a tablespoon of avocado oil to my hot skillet, and now in the steaks. So I'm cooking the steaks for about 5 minutes on this one side before turning. I'm like really bad about not like touching things like that. You want to make sure you get that good sear on there. And of course, this is going to depend on how thick your steak is and how long you want to keep it there. So I'm doing 5 minutes on this one side. I like mine to be medium rare, so just keep that in mind. So next up is to add in a tablespoon of butter after you do that first turn. And now that the butter is melting, I'm going to go ahead and baste them. And I always baste them for the same amount of time that I cooked on that one side. So I'm going to baste it for 5 minutes. Now, I have 2 skillets going, and honestly, I don't ever suggest doing this. I got burned and it was just like a huge mess. So next time I would definitely be cooking 1 skillet of steaks at a time. You always want to test the temperature of your meat, of course, to see if it's ready to be taken off. So again, like I said, I like my medium rare. So I wanted mine to be about 128 to 130 degrees. And now that they're up to that degree, I'm going to go ahead and take them off and put them onto a cooling rack to rest. Again, you want to let your steaks rest before you slice them up so all the juices stay inside. And I always let them rest for the same amount of time that I cook them for. So these are going to rest for about 10 minutes. I also like to take the butter that's left in the skillet and just pour that over the steaks for some extra flavor and, to get all those fats in. Here are those cauliflower bites. Now these were okay. This is the first time trying this recipe. They really were nothing special. I think I may want to tweak this recipe a little bit. I want to change up the spices. It just was kind of like meh, it wasn't the best. Now the cauliflower was cooked perfectly, but just the spices on there, I'm not a fan of that. So here is my finished plate. I tried this Primal Kitchen sugar-free steak sauce for the first time, and oh my word, you guys, this stuff is so good. So much better than the G. Hughes steak sauce, which is super sweet, and this stuff was so good. Highly, highly, highly recommend this Primal Kitchen. I got this on Thrive Market because I can't get it anywhere in my area, and I'm definitely going to be ordering this on a regular basis through Thrive Market. Tonight's dinner is going to be chicken Parmesan. First thing to do is to set up the breading station. I'm beating 2 eggs in a bowl. And then the breading is 1 cup of almond flour, 1 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, 1 teaspoon of Italian herbs, some garlic powder, which I hardly ever measure, and salt and pepper. So here's a great tip for getting a lot of flavor when you're doing anything with breading. You want to season all layers. So you want your breading to be seasoned, you want your meat to be seasoned, and you want your eggs to be seasoned. So I have just salt and pepper, a little bit of garlic powder in my eggs, and the same thing on my cutlets. I just have salt, pepper, garlic on all of those. Now you can either cut your chicken cutlets thin or you can pound them out. I had just cut mine pretty thin because since I've moved, I have not been able to find my meat mallet. I have no idea where it's at. And I also do a double dip. So the key to getting the breading to stick is to not have like any excess of anything on. So that's why I do the double dip. So what I'm talking about is when I'm adding the cutlet to the egg first, I want to give it kind of a good shake so there's not any big clumps of egg, because what will happen is that breading will stick to that big clump of egg, but it's going to fall right off because it's not touching the chicken. So you want to kind of give it a good shake. Then you put it into the breading mixture, and again, after that, we're just kind of shake off the excess because it's just going to fall off anyway, and take all your breading with it. And then back into the egg, and then back into the breading. So you can also use crushed up pork rinds in place of the almond flour if you don't have the almond flour. I've done both, and both work really well in this recipe. However, keep in mind that neither stick as well as regular flour. So you kind of need to press that mixture in really well after you are done dredging all the cutlets. Just kind of press those in. And so here are my finished cutlets. These are going to go into a 425-degree oven for about 10 to 12 minutes, depending on the thickness of your chicken. Mine are all done, so I'm pulling those out, and now I'm going to add on a 1/4 cup of marinara sauce and a 1/4 cup of shredded mozzarella. Now, you guys know I normally make my own sauce, and I normally shred up my own cheese, but since moving, I just need a little bit of convenience right now. So this is my first time trying this sauce from Thrive Market. It is absolutely delicious. It is so good. And I swear, this video is not sponsored by Thrive Market, although, hey, Thrive, if you're out there, if you want to sponsor, hey, hit me up. But I just love their products so much. So I do have a code I will put in the description box if you guys want to check it out. It'll save you money on your first box. You don't want to use my code. There's lots of codes out there, so go check them out. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back into the oven for about 5 minutes until the cheese is melted and the sauce is all warmed up. Here's my finished plate. You guys, this was so good. I've been craving chicken Parmesan for weeks. So this definitely hit the spot, and I paired it with a nice big side salad. Tonight's dinner is the low-carb taco casserole. I talk about this recipe all the time because I absolutely love it. I've made it so many times since starting my keto journey. I'm making 2 meals, so that's why it seems like there's a lot of ground beef in this skillet. But you only need 1 pound of ground beef, and you're going to brown this up and then add in taco seasoning. I just have my own homemade taco seasoning. I apparently did not take a clip of that part, so but yes, you do add taco seasoning to your meat. I do make this recipe a little bit different than the original one. So this is how I make it, but you can check out the recipe. It'll have all the instructions in there as well. I prefer to cook my vegetables with the cauliflower rice versus the ground beef. I think the recipe does say to put it in with the beef. So I'm going to go ahead and chop up a small bell pepper. This is a red one. The recipe also calls for white onion, but I don't have any, so I'm just omitting that for now. Instead, I'm chopping up some green onion that I'm going to toss on top, and then chopping up a whole jalapeno. I like things spicy, so that's why I'm doing a whole jalapeno. And that will be going into the cauliflower rice. So now that my veggies are all chopped up, I'm going to go ahead and prep the cauliflower rice layer. This was a bag of frozen cauliflower rice that I did put in my microwave for about 5 minutes to thaw out a little bit. So to the cauliflower rice, I'm adding in the chopped bell pepper and the jalapeno. And since I was out of the onion, I'm adding in some of this dried minced onion instead. And I believe the recipe calls for somewhere for tomato paste to go in. I'm not sure if it's with the ground beef layer or this cauliflower layer, but I'm not a fan of the taste of tomato paste, so I always omit it. But if you want it to be a little bit more tomatoey, then you can go ahead and add that, but believe me, it's fine without it. And now while the veggies are cooking, and you want to cook this until like the bell pepper and the jalapeno are nice and soft and the cauliflower starts to get kind of crispy. So while that's doing that, I did spray a 2-quart casserole dish with some cooking spray. And now that the rice and veggies are done, I'm adding them into the bottom of the casserole dish. Now, I like to pat mine down and smooth out the layers so that it is even. Honestly, it's not required. It's just something I do whenever I make layered casseroles. It's just probably like my type A personality thing coming out. Now we're adding in the meat layer, again smoothing that out. And the last layer is the cheese. We don't want to forget about that. So you want to use 3 cups of shredded Colby Jack cheese. This is going to go into a 350-degree oven for 10 minutes. My son likes black olives, so I did add on a few of those for him. You can finish this off however you want. I believe the original recipe calls for you to put a layer of sour cream on top, but since I always have leftovers, I don't like to put that sour cream on there until I add my toppings. So my toppings, I have some shredded up lettuce, some sour cream, guacamole, pico de gallo, and some crunched up Quest chips. I'm trying these chili lime ones. These were so good. So I make this recipe a few times a month. It's definitely one of my favorites, and I think you guys will love it. As always, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video. And again, all the recipes will be linked down below. Let me know which one you are looking forward to trying, and please tag me on social media if you make any of these recipes. I love to see your guys' creations. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.